Years ago, Chris forgot about the night that changed everything, until a forgotten memory resurfaced. At 17, Chris took any job he could, even one that served terrible pizza and made him miserable. With nothing left to lose, Chris accepted the job that would haunt him for decades. The job had everything except pride, and Chris didn't mind. The worst part, the pizza was bad enough to make you question why anyone would order it. Even now, Chris couldn't fathom how anyone could love pizza this bad. It was the only thing that kept them alive. The technology and the atmosphere of the place. The pizza was his last memory of home, and he hated it more than anything else. At least, no one else bothered to order. That's what made it bearable. Those nights were silent, until the one that broke everything. That's the night it all began. A simple order that would change everything. He remembered it vividly, because they didn't even have olives. And the delivery zone, that was where it all went wrong. Russell, the laid-back manager, just nodded him on. There was no reason to refuse, not even one. He didn't argue, he just took it. He grabbed it, thinking he'd just be killing time. But as he walked to his car, something caught his eye. The instructions were simple, but strange, and his young mind began racing, imagining all the possible reasons. Chris reflects on the quietness of the neighborhood, wondering why the delivery was made so quietly, perhaps to avoid waking someone inside. Boredom sets in as Chris waits for the delivery address. He's not eager to spend more time alone on this hot night. The drive feels endless. Silence amplifies his loneliness as he passes by homes growing farther apart. Chris realizes his route took him behind the house. No porch lights, no cars in driveway, just silence and shadows. He climbs up to the back door, noting how rundown everything looks. No signs of life inside. Chris knocks on the door, no response. He waits, hoping someone will answer before he's forced to go back empty-handed. The third knock brings a flicker. Something is moving behind that door. Chris freezes, sensing movement. Finally open up. Then I heard two unmarked cars pull up behind me on the side street. First thought, trespassing trouble. One door opened, and someone stepped out. A man in the light of the other car's headlights motioned for me to walk over. When I was close enough, he told me to head back to my car and wait there. That's it, nothing more. That's when I realized there weren't just 2 officers, 5, maybe more, all moving silently, circling the house like ghosts. One of them reached for the back door handle, the same one I'd knocked on and gently tried it. When it didn't open, he nodded to someone else and stepped back. Felt like I was watching something secret, something I wasn't supposed to see. Eventually, the first officer came over to my car, crouched beside the window. I rolled it down. He looked at the pizza box on the passenger seat, sighed softly. Said there was an ongoing investigation involving that property. He asked if I wanted to see the delivery order, nodded, and I pulled it up on the app. Phone number, first name Jerry. Didn't seem useful. I complained I knew my boss was gonna kill me for returning empty-handed. He shrugged, repeated, leave, walked away. Pissed off, but nothing I could do. Drove back. It took the whole ride for it to sink in. If they hadn't intervened when they did, something awful might have happened. I don't even know what. Chris reflects on a mysterious incident, wondering whether the silence behind his door was due to being watched or part of some test run. He describes his life, a stable marriage, children, work in insurance. All that matters to him. He recalls his father's passing and how the family inherited their summer escape. A quiet beach house near the boardwalk. The house is more than just a place. It's their family sanctuary filled with memories of beach days and bike rides. One night, a Wednesday in late July, he hears strange noises from the boys' room and goes to investigate. Chris followed Jordan downstairs, motioning for silence as he pointed toward the wall near his bed. Chris held his breath, nothing for a moment. Then faint, unmistakable scratching echoed from within the walls. He heard something, breathing. Then came the scream, guttural, angry, like existential dread had ripped through his chest. He yanked Jordan into motion. No time to wake Scott. They fled toward the stairs. He grabbed Scott without waking him. Their escape was pure instinct. All that mattered was getting upstairs to his wife. He reached the stairs, screaming for his wife, and heard another scream behind him. Turning around, he saw a figure charging down the hall. A man covered in grime burst into frame. Wild-eyed, barefoot, claws out, he charged straight at them. He nearly tripped climbing stairs, but made it to deck just as the intruder smashed into the glass with full force. He threw himself against the door, holding it shut while the intruder clawed, screamed, and smeared blood across glass. It felt like eternity. His wife grabbed the children, covering their ears as she shielded them from view. Keeping her eyes locked on the intruder's wild form, he'd just returned home from a long shift, exhausted, barely holding it together. When the knock came, they arrived fast. 2 officers sprinting through the door, tackling him before he could fully react. The rest of the night dissolved into a blur, shock, adrenaline, questions unanswered. They asked him what happened. He recounted everything he remembered. Together, they examined every inch, searching for how he'd slipped in and out so silently. A hidden crawl space, tucked beneath the porch, accessible through Jordan's closet. He'd never bothered to fully inspect it, let alone refinish anything. Days later, the detective returned. He'd gotten more details. The intruder confessed. He'd lived there for months, waiting to strike. He'd planned to attack them. Feeling betrayed by their presence, they sealed it shut. Finally, he could breathe again. When the crawl space was sealed, peace returned. He used the house again, glad life had returned even if not perfectly. He remembered growing up, quiet, open land stretching endlessly. Summer had once held magic. Now it felt different, quieter. What made summer unforgettable? Isolation, peace, untouched land. He still felt it, even now, something only rural nights could give him. It was loneliness, not painful but comforting, like he owned his own world. He could vanish into the night alone, unnoticed, free. The warmth of summer nights, his favorite escape from routine. He remembers it all, vividly, as if etched in memory. Taylor, his wilder half, always pushing boundaries, small rebellions, the kind that defined their bond. That summer night, a memory that shaped everything. No plan, just freedom, and the stars above. Familiar nights, but never felt the same again. Then, the night that changed everything. He leaned back again, moods lifted from seeing the star, closed eyes for a moment, not to sleep, but to feel breeze on face and settle into stillness. Taylor told him to make a wish. He didn't remember what it was. Probably silly. He closed eyes for a moment, not to sleep, but to feel breeze on face and settle into stillness. Swear on my life, eyes not closed longer than 5 seconds. When he opened them, Taylor was gone. Not just off to pee or fiddling with phone, actually gone. Both her and bike nowhere in sight. Saturday up fast. Thought maybe she was messing with me, but even after turning full 360, couldn't see her. In that moment, fear washed over him like an unexplainable wave. He woke up alone at 3 a.m. No explanation, no texts, no calls. Just a terrifying silence. The ride back felt endless. Every streetlight a potential warning sign. He didn't understand. Not even his own body knew why he'd vanished. Days later, he reached for his phone, hoping to find answers that never came. She didn't apologize, she demanded answers, and they weren't coming. He thought he remembered, but the memory felt slippery like water. She said it like a fact, as if he'd simply disappeared into thin air. They circled each other, spinning through time like two lost souls caught in a loop. He never found answers, not in his mind, nor in his phone logs. He told others, always met with whispers of ghosts and fate, but he still believed his own truth. He feels unsettled, like something happened that night, something he may never fully understand. He can't shake the memory. What happened that night? What happened to them? He wonders if he'll ever uncover the truth, or whether it's better left buried. He knows Taylor feels it too. Even now, decades later, they both wonder what truly occurred that fateful summer night.